we now direct that the CS Treasury and the control of budget should release money to cover the governments immediately.
I want to assure Kenyans that by latest Monday, we are going to disburse an amount of 60 billion to the counties, which is here for 2 months. We've already finalized all the internal arrangements within National Treasury. The funds is there. We're just waiting for the presidential assent, possibly today, to disburse these funds by latest 10-11 a.m. on Monday.
Hatutaki kusikia sasa ni IFMIS imefungwa, IFMIS imefunguliwa, ni kama mnapewa hewa kidogo, imefungwa kidogo, imefunguliwa. Unajua, these are the small things that kill devolution.
And so, Wanjiru, it appears that it's been from trouble to trouble, and in 2019, September 16th to be exact, the governors had threatened to shut down the counties because of the divide that was on the Division of Revenue bill. These, of course, they did because I think the talks worked, but this time round, they actually made it good. Never mind that some of the counties, or most of the counties, did not heed the call to shut down the counties. But do we have to get these for devolution to really work? Because if you're not talking about disagreement on the formula, disagreement on certain bills, we're also talking about delayed disbursement as well as IFMIS not working.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, and it goes back to the issue of constitutionalism and the failure, and you know, the governor put it well, that as a country, our political leadership has a problem in adhering to the rule of law, to the constitution, and to the public finance management. So the delays in disbursements are linked to that. But they're also linked to the failure to fully embrace devolution, because the amounts that the shareable revenue that is due to counties is a constitutional right. It's not a favor, and it's being administered in a manner that is held as a stick over county governments. Now, but at the heart of it, I'd like to go back to this win, and I think it was a win by the Senate, getting an additional 53 billion in terms of the division of revenue. But it raises a number of issues. Number one, Senate lost time. This bill, the proposed formula had been tabled at Senate by June of 2019. So they needed to have started the conversation earlier. So we are still caught up in that issue of we wait for the crisis, you know, this kind of adversarial as opposed to deliberative democracy. It means that we are still held up by the vestiges of our old political culture as we move to the new envisaged by the Constitution. So right now, what the Senate needs to do with this win as we begin the 2021 budget is to take this lesson and begin the conversation around the division of revenue, because there are a lot of problems in the division of revenue bill, including the medical equipment corruption scandal that is taking money away from counties, including some of the conditions around the conditional grants, including other gaps that need to be addressed. So they don't have to wait for the crisis. Counties should not have to threaten to let people die for the national government to act. The other issue that is a major issue, and the senator also mentioned that, is this issue of debt. When the president throws up his hands and says, Hakuna pesa, really, this, and you know, the Senate doesn't have a direct role in debt because of the way our constitution is framed. But we have a debt crisis. We have large infrastructure flagship projects driving government priorities. And this is actually taking money away from service delivery. There is no country that is actually continuing with its large flagship projects. Most countries, in the face of COVID, are responding by cushioning those most affected by the impacts of COVID, and by deepening the institutions that will build resilience. So there is a problem with the 2020 budget as we sit. And there's definitely going to be a supplementary budget. You can hear Ministry of Education saying we don't have enough money. Devolution right now has been given more money. It shows that the 2020 budget is flawed. We've got spending there that some of it has to be classified as non non-essential because it is not responsible for government to go on a borrowing spree of 1 trillion shillings and then say we are going to put this to build roads and infrastructure while people are suffering. So we need to rationalize so that we can minimize the amount we have to borrow and only borrow for what is necessary. And I think that's the conversation that Senate needs to spur and use the Jubilee platform, the ruling administration, to front this discussion about sobriety in how we use our money.
Senator Mwaura, I want you to have the final word, but before you do so, Governor Mutua, so you're one of the most experienced governors in this country, bearing in mind that you've been there since 2013. Have you received the money? And when you look at the challenges that you face, that the first quarter of the financial year, at least for the past 2 years, you're having those challenges of accessing the money, what do you think needs to happen for better financial planning for the country if we know that for sure we are going to find ourselves in such situations that we do?
We've gotten some little monies, but the end of the day is that we haven't gotten all the money that we need. What our chairman, our Paranya, is talking about is about delayed disbursements. We've been to court. And it's been very clear we're supposed to get monies every 15th of the month. We get our monies every 2 to 3 months. We've got delayed disbursements to county governments. And this is only 15% of the budget, of the entire budget of the Republic of Kenya. There are no delayed disbursements to national government agencies, only to counties. We have to ask ourselves why. Now, there's a trick being used, and that is the IFMIS system, so that we say that to fight corruption, let's put everything to be in one system. You know, we put all our eggs in one basket. So this IFMIS system is like a pipe, and that pipe is used to regulate, so that a process that should take 1 hour or 30 minutes can take even 1 week. And you hear that IFMIS has come down when you want to make payments, so they're shut down. At the end of the day, we don't have proper management of finances in the country we love and call Kenya. And at the end of the day, these challenges you're seeing in Treasury back and forth is because we need to come to a reality and agree that as it is right now, the Kenyan government is broke. We are chewing more than we can swallow. We are not really growing the basket. We are fighting and haggling over the same amount of ugali. We've not been able to expand the ugali. The policies that have been put there by Jubilee government, I do support myself, and I do support the mega projects, because I'm looking at it. If the mega projects are done, they'll spur the economy. If we get into manufacturing, we build infrastructure, we do these things, they're important to spur the economy and get that consumer spending going. But currently, as it is, we've become comfortable with borrowing. We've become comfortable with begging. Now we are going back to the IMF World Bank control that we got out of during Mwai Kibaki's era. So the country, Kenya, and their president needs to tell us very clearly, he needs to come and admit that we are basically broke. We don't have enough money to actually run our own lives. Why? Because of runaway expenditure. 2, because of runaway corruption. And 3, because of poor fiscal management. You look at the cost of doing business in this country. You look at the bureaucracy there is in this country. You can't move money. You can't do anything.
Yet, Governor, when the senator spoke last week, they were calling you the Council of Gangsters and saying that some of you are responsible for the pilferage we see in this country in the counties.
Yeah, because, you know, it's an excuse, because look at it this way. The county governments get, what is the allocation? 15-20% of the entire government, even if say 30% of the trillions of shillings, the remaining money stays in the national government. When you hear about corruption scandals of millions and billions, are they in the counties? No. So we have this idea, this concept of always blaming counties for corruption. I'm not saying there's no corruption in the counties. I'm not saying there are no issues in the counties. But we have the big scandals, the NYS scandal, the KEMSA scandal, the big scandals of billions and billions of shillings. And I would call, and I call for, an audit of all the money that we have received as debt. And I can assure you, from what I know, from anecdotal evidence, is that part of the money we received as debt has also been stolen. Not by the county governments, but by national government operations and operatives, and by senior national government officials who are there eating and eating and eating as our kids languish at home without jobs, as our roads are getting dilapidated, as our mothers are giving birth on the streets, as I was put clearly, and dying. So there's a problem in this country that needs fixing.
All right,
and what
Governor.
I'm saying is that, and just as I conclude, what I'm saying is that all we are seeing, all the games we are seeing, and the discussions we are having and we'll have next week, is because Kenya as it is today has failed in delivering to its people and it's a time, like I said during when I declared I'm running for president, computer ya Kenya imehang, and we need to reset the computer. We need to reboot the computer with a fresh face and
Governor,
a fresh way of doing things. And that's just the reality.
Governor, you'll pay for it. You'll pay for it. I will not have to go and explain. But all the same, thank you so much, Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua, as well as Wanjiru Gikonyo, for speaking to us this morning. Senator Mora, stay on. We'll be joined by one Gladys Bose, Member of Parliament for Uasin Gishu, as well as Abdikadir Mohammed, who is a constitutional lawyer, as we continue this conversation. But all the same, thanks for your time. We take a short break. We're back in a moment.